All right, let's welcome back NFL Insider Josina Anderson. Josina, you heard the teams that are in the running for Beckham's services. So what's the latest on where he could end up?
So just to clarify, as earlier in the season, we talked about Odell Beckham Jr. being in the Giants facility that one time. And now it looks like all of that stuff is coming to fruition with what we indicated. And it was just beyond visiting Sterling Shepard, who had torn his ACL, as we now continue to hear of Odell Beckham Jr.'s interest in the Giants and also the Cowboys, two teams that very much would feel like home to Odell relative to his ties to Texas and obviously having played for the Giants before. So with regards to at least the Giants, or rather the Dallas Cowboys, one of the things that I can tell you is that the discussions that have been going around have that visit pegged for early December. And so we'll see relative to the slotting of how some of the visits that he would like to do goes. But one of the things that will be interesting to just kind of keep an eye on there is not only when it happens, but what will be the expectations during the visit, if a workout will be required, just relative to his desire to do that as well, and with the other teams. Specifically also, when you just consider the fact that he tore his ACL coming back from the second one, and you're looking at even the Giants' perspective, another team that he is expected to visit as well, probably before that, and then the Cowboys relative to what I'm hearing right now, but we'll see how that goes. But when you look at the fact that Wendell Robinson is the second Giant this season who suffered an ACL, that including Sterling Shepard, who suffered that ACL injury in week 3, it's just another thing to consider on that slip film turf that the Giants have as well. Just when you think about the overall macro picture that Odell has to consider. But very strong ties with the Giants as well, and his relationship with guys like Saquon Barkley or what have you. And then obviously just wanting to play for a quarterback that will extend his career. And then with the recent injuries, clearly the leverage is up when you're talking about a team like the Giants. But when you look at the overall picture last night, specifically also Sunday Night Football, and how a team like the Kansas City Chiefs are performing, how Patrick Mahomes specifically is performing, very hard not to keep your eye on that. So it's just going to be an overall, interesting decision for him from a macro perspective relative to how the quarterback is playing relative to the overall path of the team in the postseason, and when's the best time to join where he is relative to his ACL rehab, and then also just in terms of the desires that he would like contractually. But a lot of that stuff will continue to become more clear as we get into it past Thanksgiving. But my understanding now, and the headline for today, is that the Cowboys' expectation, per my understanding, is that that visit would be in early December.
So it sounds like the Giants and the Cowboys, two teams that are front runners at this point in time for Odell's services. As you mentioned, though, we're going to wait till after Thanksgiving before we get a decision from him. All right, there was some expectation, or at least some hope, that the Washington Commanders would add Chase Young to the active roster last week to face Houston. That didn't happen, but there is some expectation perhaps this week. Josina, what's the timeline for Young for his return?
Well, Chase Young had that 21-day window activated for obviously the return from his ACL injury that he incurred last season starting November 2nd. So the 21-day window deadline is on Wednesday, and the team has to make a decision by then, specifically also because they did not activate him this past weekend as well. So my expectation, per what I've heard, is that the activation is either going to happen today or tomorrow. My understanding also is that head coach Ron Rivera would like another opportunity to speak to Chase Young. And you have to also consider this from a player's perspective when it comes to being out for a long time. Certainly, Chase Young is not the first athlete to have to deal with this, but there are some psychological hurdles relative to coming back, when to come back, just the pressures of being a first-round pick and wanting to live up to the expectations of the player that he was in his rookie season, having 7.5 sacks, 4 forced fumbles and 3 fumble recoveries. So all of those things, can playing in his mind and wanting to be as great as he is with the performances that we've seen so far. So that is part of the job as the head coach, is just to let him know that he is still a part of this team. He still wanted. It's going to be okay. He does not have the pressure of having to be this amazing, athlete this season, that it is okay to get better over a continuum. You take a player like Saquon Barkley, who, played last season and was recovering from that ACL, similar to Chase Young. It took him an extra season to become and play like the Saquon Barkley that he is this season. So it's okay. The expectation is that it will still take time. And the other question, guys, to look out for is, even though we expect the activation to happen within the next 24 hours or so, is what decision will head coach make relative to their game this season and, this Sunday rather, and whether he will play.
Yeah, Commanders.
And how soon he will.
Commanders taking on the Atlanta Falcons this week, and that's the last topic we want to hit on with you. Obviously, the news within the last couple hours that Kyle Pitts torn MCL, so he is out for the season. Not exactly having a dominant campaign for the Falcons, sitting atop their division, but still, how big of a loss is this for Atlanta down the stretch?
Well, it's a big loss when you are relying on a tight end who's giving you a lot of production. Obviously, Cordell Patterson is another skill set player that gives them a lot of production. But yes, he does have that torn MCL, specifically asking a league source to confirm the report by Ian Rappaport, but also taking the extra step to ask if Kyle Pitts would be done for the season. And I was told yes, and quote. So that is the expectation relative from the player side, and we'll just continue to see how it goes. We'll try to get more confirmation as to when the possible surgery would be and what that says in terms of the window of recovery. But that is the latest news from the regarding the Falcons tight end right now in terms of Kyle Pitts.
Fighting with Tampa Bay for top spots in the NFC South. Our senior NFL insider, Josina Anderson, joining us here on HQ to talk about some of the NFL storylines as we head into Week 12. Thank you very much, Josina. And they'll be talking about storylines on Inside the NFL, as well as in-depth highlights for you. A new episode every Tuesday, streaming exclusively on Paramount+.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.